In the year 2012, Virgil Abloh bought a $35 Ralph Lauren flannel and printed a word associated with drug culture and the number 23, a nod to the number of his favorite basketball player on the back of the flannel, where he then sold this flannel for $550. Some called it genius, while others called it a scam. But what a lot of people don't realize is that Virgil Abloh created a fake brand just to see how much Hypebeast would pay for a logo on regular clothes. This is Virgil Abloh's Hypebeast experiment. Before Off-White, before Louis Vuitton, before the world called him a genius, Virgil Abloh was just a skateboard kid from Illinois that was obsessed with design. He studied civil engineering and architecture, constantly blurring the lines between what he was supposed to build and what he wanted to create. And around 2003, he crossed paths with a local Chicago producer, Kanye West, and this was a meeting that would go on to change both of their careers forever. Virgil quickly became Kanye's right-hand man. They did everything together, from helping shape album covers to stage designs, as well as merch that would redefine hip-hop's version of identity. But before anybody wore Off-White or Pyrex, Virgil was already mapping out his future online. In 2006, he joined a blog called The Brilliance, where he wrote about his early interests in brands like Chrome Hearts, Tesla, Bape, and Cause. But this was long before they became a status symbol. But it wasn't just a blog. It was pretty much an archive of his tastes, a digital reflection of what culture would become. And even back then, Virgil wasn't chasing luxury. He studied how meaning and storytelling gave things a perceived value. And in this sense, he was early, not just in fashion, but seeing where fashion was going. By 2009, Virgil's runway dreams were becoming a reality. After helping design Kanye's Glow in the Dark tour, he was set to return for the Fame Kills tour, which was supposed to be a collaboration between Lady Gaga and Kanye West, two of the biggest artists at the time. But right before this could happen, the infamous Taylor Swift moment happened at the 2009 VMAs, where Kanye went up on stage and did his controversial speech. And after this, the tour was completely scrapped. Absolutely nobody at this time wanted to be associated with Kanye West. But after a recommendation from a close friend, Kanye and Virgil left the country to reset, where they would begin interning at Fendi in Rome for just $500 a month. It was there that Virgil learned luxury from the inside: construction, storytelling, and brand mythology. And when they returned to the United States, Kanye went on to release his best album of all time, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and that dropped in November of 2010. And then 1 month later, in December, Virgil launched a new Tumblr page that was called Pyrex Vision. It was pretty much a digital mood board blending streetwear, high art, and pop culture. It was similar to his 2006 blog, but way better. It featured stuff like high fashion, Tom Ford quotes, all the way to underground Chicago brands and pictures of Virgil with his friends that were celebrities. It was all of Virgil's surroundings put into one. But it wasn't a brand yet. It was Virgil's brain in motion, a world where luxury and streetwear finally lived together. But soon, the idea would take physical form. And in 2012, Virgil Abloh officially launched Pyrex Vision, the clothing side. But yet, it wasn't a clothing line, and he didn't even have a manufacturer. It was a mess. Virgil himself even said that Pyrex was not meant to be a brand. He called it a one-time art project. It was a statement, not a startup brand. It was then that he infamously bought these dead stock Ralph Lauren flannels that weren't selling for $35 each and printed the word Pyrex 23 on the back and sold them for $550. He got shorts that were Champion, screen printed on the front of them, and sold them for $60. T-shirts were Gildan for $100, and hoodies were Champion, marked at $150. But that didn't matter, because it wasn't about quality. And a lot of fashion critics were tearing apart this brand, and also making fun of the people that paid this ridiculous pricing for such cheap garments. But you see, Virgil Abloh wasn't trying to hide anything. The Ralph Lauren tags were still on the flannel, and the Champion logos were still visible on the shorts and the hoodie. And that's because Pyrex wasn't meant to trick you. It was meant to show you. Virgil was proving a point, that branding alone could transform something ordinary into something that people would line up for. He didn't need factories, he didn't need supply chains. He could literally buy clothing at retail from the store, bring it home and print over it, and still profit over 1000%. And then it happened. The experiment exploded. What started as a DIY project between Virgil and his friends became one of the most wanted streetwear brands in the entire world. And the craziest part, he didn't do any marketing. He used his celebrity friends as endorsements. He didn't pay for commercials or advertisements. He literally just gave the clothes to his friends that happened to be celebrities, and it became a global phenomenon. Kanye West wore it, A$AP Rocky wore it, Kylie Jenner wore it, Travis Scott, and within just about a month or two, Pyrex Vision took over the world. Some fans thought it was genius, while other people thought that this was a huge scam. In a sense, it kind of was. Champion shorts that were like $5 at the time, mixed with some cheap packaging and a screen print logo, was now selling for $60. Gildan t-shirts were now being sold for $150 when you could buy them at the store for $3 or $4 or $5. But the popular Renaissance paintings that were on the front had a deeper meaning. This was a statement to the higher-ups to determine what was and wasn't high-end fashion. And the ancient painting on the front was called the Entombment of Christ, which was by an Italian artist that went by the name of Caravaggio. But the importance of this graphic doesn't just come from the painting, it's more about the artist itself. Caravaggio was infamous for his lifestyle when he was creating these stunning commissions for Italian elites. While he was being paid to do these high-end murals for royalty in Italy, he was always caught hanging around the streets and taverns of Rome with criminals and other people that Italian high society deemed as unsavory. So while this artist was doing these pieces for a lot of money, he was also hanging around criminals and like homeless people. The artist Caravaggio was known for the dramatic contrast between light and dark, and Virgil Abloh used this same technique, visually and conceptually. It was the sacred art of the elite, but reprinted on clothing for the streets. It was both ironic and sincere, but it was most importantly a statement about who owns culture. And this was where Pyrex blurred the lines between luxury art and streetwear. Pyrex questioned what was the real difference between a $600 Givenchy hoodie and a $550 Champion hoodie. And to Virgil, the answer was simple: branding. Who represents it, and branding is the only thing that decides its value. And Virgil literally made this brand and these products just to see if Hypebeast would buy it, and they did. All of the products sold out immediately, and people began reselling and flipping this sold out Pyrex clothing. These people knew that they were being persuaded by just a logo on cheap clothes, but that didn't stop people from wearing and flexing the brand. But Virgil was very clear. Pyrex was built to not exist. He was using shirts, pants, and flannels that weren't even his, while printing the designs that were made by somebody else. And soon enough, according to A$AP Rocky in an interview, Pyrex was actually sued by the other Pyrex company. Yes, the original Pyrex glassware company sent a cease and desist to Virgil Abloh for the brand, and just like that, the project was over. But the statement had already been made. Pyrex Vision burned bright and fast. Virgil shut it down, saying that Pyrex was a reflection of a moment in time, similar to his Tumblr blog. And from the ashes of Pyrex, he built the brand Off-White, the brand that turned an experiment into a movement. But Pyrex walked so Off-White could run. And Virgil proved the point that luxury was no longer defined by craftsmanship, but it was defined by context. And if you look at the entire blueprint for Off-White, it was heavily inspired by Pyrex, which Pyrex was literally a DIY project. Virgil even stated that some of the pieces that he made for his friends were just him going out, buying the shirt or the flannel, printing on it and giving it to his friends. This was before he started selling it officially, but he took that same blueprint and sold it online, and it was pretty much just like a little DIY project, and that's exactly what Off-White was. And with advertisements, he did pretty much the same thing with Off-White. Instead of paying for commercials and advertisements, the beginning of Off-White was just him giving the products to his celebrity friends and them wearing it and posting in it. And as sad as it is, anything that celebrities wear, people go crazy for. But then after this, everybody knows the story. Years later, Virgil Abloh became Louis Vuitton's first black artistics director, and it felt like a full circle moment. But the blueprint for that success was written long before, in blog posts, in Tumblr pages, and in those $40 flannels that turned into $500 iconic pieces. Virgil wasn't just ahead of the curve, he created it. He proved that in a world built on perception, value isn't what something's made of, it's what it means. And that is how Virgil Abloh turned a social experiment into cultural history that still resells for thousands of dollars till this day in 2025. And that is pretty much the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoy. Now, this was a fun one. I made like a short about this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I really liked it, and I dug into this topic more and more, and I found a lot of cool things. So I thought, why not make like a full video around this? I feel like recently with the whole like Cool Kicks scandal and the train robberies, all that kind of stuff, I've been very in like this niche bubble for like the past month or two when it comes to that. So I wanted to go back to my roots and make this video about like, you know, like the culture. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I thought this was really cool. And I also did some research on the whole blog thing. I thought that was really cool. Like back in 2006, Virgil was making these blog posts about like Chrome Hearts and Chanel and like Tesla cars before anybody had them. So yeah, I just thought that was really cool, and I wanted to add that in here. But that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a comment of what you want my next video to be about, or any cultural moments like this that I could cover and make something cool with. And like always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that little notification bell so you get notified every time I post, because I post once or twice a week, and I try to post every day on Shorts. And once again, thank you guys so much for the endless support that I've gotten over these past couple months. I truly am blessed, and I want to say thank you guys. If you guys haven't already, follow my Instagram right here, where I post videos like these pretty much every single day, the little short videos. Anything that isn't long enough for a full YouTube video, I post on my Instagram as little snippets and shorts, so definitely check that out. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you in the next video. Peace!